Yo, what's good? What's up, everybody? You know what I mean? Now, I see the riot that's going on, and a lot of people think, what's gonna come of the riot? You know, what's gonna will a solution actually be found? Well, here's the thing, man. I'm gonna tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. The truth is this about the whole rioting, the death of that man that was killed by the cops and, just how it was handled. I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is this, man, is that nothing's going to change. Now, I used to be one of those people, I'm going to get all excited, I'm going to get all angry, and I'm going to get all, energized and feel some type of way. But in reality, man, ain't nothing gonna change. The reason nothing's gonna change after this man was killed, and I bring a man because that's what it should be first. A man was killed, you know what I mean? It's always a racial play. A black man was killed, an Indian man was killed. But in actuality, if we want to look at it, is what it was. A man was killed, an innocent man. Now, now, how do you solve the whole? Now, how do you solve this whole killing that happened when the cop killed the man? It's really easy. It's that people need to understand the biggest flaw of this country, not only America, but a lot of countries, the majority of countries, the biggest flaw is there's no law of conduct. What I mean by law of conduct is this, you know, the cop killed, the cop killed him, but what in the law that says the way he conducted himself was wrong? There's nothing in the law that says he conducted himself wrongly. You know, there's no punishment. Now, the biggest problem is this. Now here's why the rioting, the protesting, it's not gonna do nothing. The reason it's not gonna do nothing is you're really begging, you're asking people that you gave all the power to find themselves guilty. You know, the people voted for you know, you've given the government all the authority. Only the government can discipline your kids. Only the government can teach your kids. The government decides when a relationship is broken up. For example, let's say you're married and divorced. You know, you've given all the power to the government. You've allowed the government to draw too close to personal aspects of public life. And, with the death of this man, and every year, every few years it happens, another black guy killed, the I can't breathe, the, you know, the, so many have died every year. Now, what's happened is the public needs to understand this. You've given all the power to the government. You know what I'm saying? You're giving all the power to the government. So how can you be upset when someone was wrongfully killed when you've said it's all right? You know what I'm saying? You've said you've allowed the government to come close to your home, as in, for example, I'm gonna go into relationships. The government, let's say a man and a woman get married. Instead of them just being together and when it ends, it ends, you've made it that the government will decide what happens. The government will decide to come in the between you and decide what happens and how this relationship ends. Then with your children, the same thing. Your children have to go to school for an education and so on. You homeschool them, it's wrong. You know, what's happened is this, man, with the death of this man and I keep saying this man. The reason I keep saying this man is that when they keep reporting it as a black man died, it's a way to divide the public, to dehumanize that person again by saying, look, it was a black man. If you're Latino, if you're white, if you're Native American, whatever, it wasn't one of you that died. So what's the solution? The solution is very simple. I once wrote a paper called The Black Hole Theory. The thing is this: the public needs to have a middle ground between the public and the politicians. It don't matter if that state was Democrat, Republican, none of that matters. What matters is there's no middle ground between the public and the politicians. And what I mean by that is that, this crime, when the police officer stepped on that guy's neck, they're gonna make people look at the basics. The basics is, look, that cop killed that guy. No, it was already set up. It was already set up for that cop to be able to kill that guy because there's no law of conduct. What I mean by there's no law of conduct is that there's no law holding that cop from killing that person or any punishment that comes with that. We just have a code of conduct. For example, you have the Constitution, the United States Constitution. All men are created equal and all that, but that's a constitution. There's no law of conduct, as in a law will be enforced to ensure that is factual, that is true, and that it will be organized and it will be treated as so. It's just a constitution, and a constitution might as well be a piece of paper with, no enforcement behind it. Now, the solution is, a lot of people gonna go riot. They're gonna burn things. They're gonna be doing a lot of stupid things. The riot isn't gonna help. The riot isn't gonna help because you're asking the very government that you've told them they decide everything. They decide whether you can split up with somebody through marriage, whether you can, discipline your own children, whether what you own in your household, even though you have the bank receipts, they decide. You've given them all the power. So how can you complain now? The biggest example of, this is that you have Democrats, Republicans, you got politicians, but there's nothing in the middle. There's nothing in the middle that, for example, all right, this man was killed. You know what I mean? This man was killed by the government. He was killed by the police officers or whatever. So now you're going to have the police investigate this. You're going to have the local mayor investigate this. The very people that legally said this is okay. You know what I mean? It's kind of like this. Somebody comes into your home and robs you, and you tell them to hold an investigation whether they robbed you. And that's what's gonna go on with with the death of this Floyd, you know what I mean? The death of this man. Give me 1 minute. Cops kill Floyd. Floyd. Hey, give me 1 minute. I'm just checking out something quick. Yeah. Well, yeah, now I got it. Well, yeah. So basically, the cop who killed, George Floyd, You know what I mean? The thing is this, you, the public, gave them the power to do this to begin with. It's not illegal when there's nothing between the political aspect and the public, you know? So what you got, who the hell is that? Go live with Eric Campbell. What is this? Yeah. Well, basically it's this, man. You know what I mean? Basically what's going on is this. What happened to that man, you know, who was murdered, the public allowed that. We live in a system where it's the politicians, then you got the citizens. There's no middle ground. As in, now, now the cop who killed George Floyd is going to be investigated by the FBI, the CIA, the very system that allows this to happen. You know, the biggest problem people don't look at is how come this was allowed to happen. It's because there's no law of conduct. There's no law of conduct that says if you're an officer, if you're a public authority, and so on, that you know what I mean, that you're held to a higher level of accountability. There's a code of conduct. There's a code of conduct that assumes, let me see, who is this, man? Add friends, bring Eric Campbell on camera. Yeah, I see this whole thing, somebody asking me to bring them on camera. I don't see, you know. But but like I said, you know, I'm gonna bring you on. I think you got something to say. I don't know what's going on there. See, it's adding somebody. But like I said, man, you know, the thing is this. You know how many people? You got Sean Bell who got shot. You got some unnamed, you know, white men, white people were shot. The thing is this, man, it's perfectly allowed. There's no code of conduct. Like right now, you have you got the mayor of Minneapolis, the mayor. You have the mayor saying, you know, he's going to do something. The mayor isn't going to do something. What the mayor has realized, and what a lot of politicians have realized, is this: when a black person dies, it becomes big news. Now, back in the day, they used to run from that. What this mayor's gonna do, and you know, what this mayor's gonna do that's smart, unlike other mayors, is that, oh, I got you, man. I got you, Eric. I hear you. What this mayor, his name is Jacob Fry, whatever his name is. What this mayor's gonna do is he's gonna say, yo, man, we need to lock up this man and all that. He's gonna give a pretty nice speech, and then he's gonna position himself to be the next senator and the next potential president or governor. You know, the thing about this, you know, when it comes to the black death in this country is the best media splurge. The media gets a lot of viewers whenever a black person dies, you know, and as they should, because the black community has not invested in buying out politicians. So, you know, they don't really own or seek to own as much. But, you know, let me stop ranting. But the solution, the solution isn't rioting. You're gonna burn your town, then you're gonna ask the local mayor and the local governor, can you fix it? The very same people that said it's okay that man got shot and he was murdered. You know, the answer is this: the public, this right here. If this isn't the reason that people stop voting, you know, stop participating in that pyramid scheme, that pyramid scheme called voting for a Democrat, voting for a Republican. Oh, guess what? If you can get more Democrats in your state, we're going to help you out. If you can get more Republicans in your state, we're going to help you out. It's a pyramid scheme. You know, it's the whole political voting thing. It's a pyramid scheme. You get more of your own people to quote unquote represent you, and then they're going to give you something. When in reality, those politicians, like anybody, they're running for a check. They're running for a paycheck because, you know, votes. In fact, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. If you went to work right now and they didn't pay you, they gave you votes, you did a good job. You did a great job at work. You know, I'll vote and approve. You did a great job at work. You're such a good employee, so we voted for you. We vote that you're the best employee. Now, would that substitute for you getting paid and feeding your children? No, it wouldn't. You know what I mean? So the whole, if this, how many more deaths under the watch of the politicians and under the watch of the quote unquote Democrats, Republicans are gonna happen for you to say, you know what? We need to stop voting for these parties, man. We need to stop participating and form our own political party. Because right now, the death of George Floyd, a lot of politicians are gonna, you know, the ones that have realized, yo, when a black person dies, don't run from it. Don't, you know, all that's gonna happen is we most likely might get this cop, for example, the cop that killed him, because now they're advertising he's a MAGA, he's a make America great person again. So they're trying to use this to, I'll even show you, take a look. You know what I mean? They're trying to now use this to say, you know, a Republican did it. It don't matter if that cop was a Republican or a Democrat. At the end of the day, he supported anyone who votes. You're voting for a pyramid scheme before the American public. You know, and the solution is simple, man. We need a middle ground. What you're gonna have the police department investigate this. You're gonna have the FBI, the very same people that don't have a law of conduct. There's no law of conduct in this country. There's only a constitution that isn't enforced because there's no law to enforce that constitution. So the Constitution might as well be a piece of toilet paper with writing on it. You know what I mean? Because there's no law of conduct to ensure this. Now, this cop, let's say he gets arrested, he's gonna get what? Let's say he should get the death penalty, but odds are he's gonna get 10 years. He's gonna get out with good behavior. What, he might get five years. Then when he gets out, he's gonna have a job waiting for him. There's no law of conduct. As for the rioting and burning and looting stuff, you're burning your own community, because the truth is, it's easier to riot than for the public to get together and say, you know what? We need to organize. We need to form our own independent organization that is in the middle between the politicians and the public, you know, the citizens. You know, that's what's missing. We don't have a middle ground. The majority of countries have a political party on one side, then they have the public. They don't have a middle ground where it's an organization funded by the citizens that represents the citizens, you know, and it represents, you know, it's allocated some of their tax money that goes to this independent group. So when the government fails, you know, this independent group will host the investigation. This independent group isn't tied to any political party. It's tied to the citizens first. That's what's needed. That whole vote for that whole, you know, we keep voting. Cause I'm gonna ask you something. I'm gonna ask everybody this. Hasn't this been happening if you're in America, maybe you're in Britain. I got a lot of friends all over the world. You know, how many times are you gonna keep participating in a broken system? You know what I mean? Because I'm 31 now. Now, before I was born, we had this same system, Democrat, Republican. People were being hung, people were being killed. There were still people being killed by the cops or abused by the system, whatever. Because to me, the people that blame the cop, that's the smaller aspect. That's on the basic level. You got to look at the whole system and structure. That cop was allowed to do that because there's no law of conduct. I'll give you an example. You're a cop. You have supervision and authority over a public person. Basically, a cop can act like they're your parents. If a cop told me to cross the street, he got to talk to me. Odds are I got to cross the street and go talk to him because he's a government and authority figure, you know. But there isn't any, like, for example, if you become a cop, a public servant, you're gonna serve more time. As in you'll serve 3 times the time of a normal person because you're allowed to be armed and in front of them. Because there's no law of conduct. There's no law of conduct that if for example, if you're a teacher, you've been given the rights to supervise the children in that school. They're supposed to trust you and you're supposed to take care of them. And for example, let's say a teacher rapes or a teacher beats up a student. That teacher's gonna serve the same amount of time that a non-public non-public servant would serve. You know, until there's a law of conduct that when you work for the government, you will be given punishment that's 3 times what the citizen would face, there ain't gonna be no justice. You know what I mean? There's not gonna be no solutions, man. I think somebody else asked me to invite them. Yeah, but like I said, there won't be no solutions because if you're not given, for example, like I was saying, if you're a school teacher and you beat the hell out of somebody's kid, you were given supervision. You should serve 3 to 5 times the punishment because you're allowed a level of authority that the basic person doesn't have. You know what I'm saying? So the solution is simple, man. Don't go out there and riot because what is the riot gonna do? You're going out there, you're gonna go burn your own town or you're gonna go burn a few police stations here and there. But guess what? When the fire clears, when everything's cleaned up, guess who you gonna turn back to? You're gonna turn back to the very same government you told, hey, Mr. Government, you should be able to decide whether I can discipline my children. You should be able to decide whether I can break up with my now wife. You should be able to decide what happens when we divorce, who gets what. You should be able to decide whether I pay child support on my child when, for example, we broke up because of emotional things. You know, the truth is the public has allowed the government to overstep its boundaries. It's over involved. You know what I mean? It's everywhere you look. People get married, the government decides who gets what. People, a breakup happens, a child is left without a father, and that father has to pay child support for not being in their child's life for emotional reasons. Not because he couldn't feed that kid, he wasn't doing his job. This is all the aspects of the society we live in. The public has given the government an overreach. You've allowed them to get involved in everything in your life without any justification. You've allowed them to overstep their boundaries. Now you're gonna have people riot. It happened before where, what was it? Hands up, don't shoot, I can't breathe, Black Lives Matter. All these organizations have accomplished nothing. The reason they've accomplished nothing because you're asking a government you given all the power to act, to be just. You're asking, for example, that cop who killed George Floyd. You're asking the police department to investigate itself. You don't have an independent agency that represents the citizens. And I know I'm going back and forth, but this is the truth, man. I've been alive for over 20 years, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm 31. You know, I've seen a lot. What was it back in the 90s when the cop shoved the pipe up this dude's ass and killed, you know what I mean, tried to kill him. When the cops shot, you know, excuse me if I'm wrong on his name. His name was Sean Bell. They shot over 50 rounds into him, and he was coming from a bachelor party. You know what I'm saying? Or when this and that, dude. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change until the public says we're going to form a independent group, an independent organization that represents the citizens first. Because one thing you got to understand with the Democrat and the Republican Party is they represent their parties first. They don't represent the public. They're all about getting more and more Democrats, more Republicans, more Democrats, more Republicans. That's it. The thing is this, man, and there's gonna be a lot of rioting. There's gonna be some looting. There's gonna be a lot of people protesting, which I call coming together to beg loudly. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna accomplish nothing because at the end of the day, you're asking a government, and you're asking your local governor or your local government to you're asking your local government to change. You're asking them to change when you've given them all the power. You've given them all the power to your life and everything, and you're asking them to change now. I'm gonna close this because I gotta handle something, but I'm gonna leave you with the answer. The answer is simple. Until the public forms its own organization that represents the public first, ain't nothing gonna change. All that looting, all that rioting is just the public saying it's easier to loot and riot than to accept responsibility that we've given the government all the power. You know what I'm saying? Because in all honesty, that guy who killed George Floyd, technically he's not wrong. Technically he's not wrong because you gave the governing body all this power. You gave the governing body all the power to determine what's right and what's wrong. So how is that cop killing this guy wrong? How is it wrong when you said it's all right? The politicians are above the law. You know what I'm saying? When a politician is found stealing money, that's what the politicians do. You want to know why they say that? Because the majority of the public, and I might have to take my glasses off. You can look me in the eye. The majority of the public is all right with this. The majority of the public is all right with the killing and the shooting, be it by authority, by the cops, or by a judge abusing their power. The majority of the public is all right with it because the public wants the opportunity to perform the same level of corruption. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm not, I've changed the way I talk because, man, I'm not sugarcoating things no more, man. I'm just telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. The truth is simple, man. All that rioting, all that stuff, it ain't gonna do nothing because you said it was all right to begin with. You said it was cool for the police to come into your home and decide, who gets to keep being in their child's life. You know what I'm saying? You said all that is okay. And, we had, like I said, when Sean Bell died with 50 bullets put into him. The public did what? They protest, they walked around. What did that do? Nothing. Nothing's gonna happen because there's no representation for the public. I'm not saying you go ask your governor and all that. No, you put your money together. You as the public put your money together. You form an organization that decides how that decides who represents you. Because right now, there's no middle ground, man. There never was. There never was a middle ground between the public and the politicians. You know what I'm saying? That George Floyd death ain't nothing gonna change. That local mayor, notice the local mayor's giving a speech because he's setting himself up to run for governor. A lot of those mayors have learned that when a black person dies, I shouldn't run from it. I should go give a speech and say, "Oh man, we should lock up this officer. He's done wrongful things. We should lock him up." And I'm the mayor. Remember, I said we should lock him up. So when he runs for senator and he runs for governor or president, you people gonna run up and support him. It's all BS, man. A lot of BS is going on. We need, and ain't nothing gonna change. It's been over 50 years. Before I was born, before a lot of people were born, it's been the same. Because there's no law of conduct and there's no middle ground between the public and the politicians. I'm gonna give you an example. Check it out. If I was to go to court right now, let's say I got in a fight defending myself. I was getting jumped and there was video. The prosecutor in the court could say, "Yo, we don't need to showcase that video. We don't need to showcase the evidence." Do you not understand? We live in a country where if you go to court, they could deny your evidence. They could deny what proves whether you're guilty or not. Because we don't have a law of conduct. Until this country and a lot of countries get a law of conduct where, it don't matter if you're a politician, it don't matter if you're a cop, it don't matter if you're a teacher, you will be punished by the law. You know what I'm saying? And until the public gets its own independent representation, ain't nothing gonna happen. People gonna loot, people gonna riot in their towns, and then they're gonna ask the same government the same politicians that allowed this to happen to come help their community now. And I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example for the black community, the more urban communities. Now, the big win about if you burn your own town is that you can no longer afford to live there. So they're gonna have to push you into a even cheaper and poorer town. Then those communities that live in the suburbs can reinvest in that urban town you burned down so they can buy it. That's what's gonna happen. So all this rioting stuff and burning your own town, you actually making it easier for the people that live in the suburbs that say, "Yo, man, it's too much money to stay here. We need to move down to the hood and buy it out for cheap." And since they burned down most of the town, we could buy it out for dirt cheap right now. So man, I'm gonna close it, I'm gonna end it, but I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna keep it simple. Until there's a law of conduct enforced by the public and the politicians. What I mean by the public and politicians is that you need to have an organization that is funded by the taxpayers' money that is outside of the political parties to represent the public. When something like this happens, you shouldn't be rioting. There should be an organization that isn't a Democrat, it isn't a Republican, it's a complete, absolute, independent party that goes to represent the public and takes care of this. You know what I mean? Until that happens, people gonna be yelling, oh my God, they killed George Floyd. Then 2, 3 months or maybe 6 months later, another black person's gonna die. Another Indian person's gonna die. Whatever it is, Spanish, Puerto Rican, Native American, ET, whatever. Another one's gonna die. This has been going on for over 20 years now, dude. And it ain't gonna stop. It never will, man. Until the public stop acting, stop acting like some, I don't want to say nothing. I can't really curse or anything because who knows, Facebook might block it. Till the public stops acting stupid, man, and actually does something that can work, like forming their own organization to represent themselves. And in all honesty, the public needs to stop participating in all this voting for your local politician and all that. What is it doing? The truth is the public should only be voting amongst itself. Like, I'll give you an example. One of my neighbors could be the town leader of the east side. Another neighbor on the west side could be the leader. They represent that whole county. You know what I'm saying? Not no, yo, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, that pyramid scheme. We're gonna get more, if we get more Democrats in, we're gonna represent you. We're gonna give you something. If we get more Republicans in, we're gonna give you something. It's a pyramid scheme, man. How many, it's been over 80 years, they killed Emmett Till. They killed this, they killed some, they killed even whether he's white or black. The government's done it back and forth, man. This shit is old. You know what I mean? That's why I ain't out there. That's why I'm not out there running around acting stupid, because what's the point? What is it gonna do? It ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of people coming together to beg, hey, we know you killed him, local government and local police. Can you stop killing them and change things? It's like me, it's like somebody came into my house and robbed me, and I said, yo, can you investigate, you the dude who robbed me, I want you to investigate whether it was right for you to rob me. And that robber's gonna say, well, I did my investigation and I didn't rob you, man. I didn't rob you at all. It just so happens that your stuff was in my hands. Come on, man. This shit is getting old, man. You know what I mean? So, other than that, man, I said what I had to say. Y'all be easy, y'all be safe. I'm gonna make a video soon about the whole coronavirus. And what I think's gonna change with that whole coronavirus. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have a good one. Peace.